What's up, everyone? Tommy Marquez here inside the Update Studio for a post-games wrap-up edition of Inside the Leaderboard. In our first year in the new home of the games, Madison, Wisconsin, brought out some historic performances on both the individual men and women's competition. So we're going to take a little walk today through some of the numbers and the significance behind those performances. And first up, it would be an absolute shame if we didn't kick off this segment by dissecting Matt Fraser's demolition of the men's field for the second year in a row. Now, last year's performance from Fraser was widely considered the most dominant ever. That was until a few short weeks ago. Stacking up the last 2 years side by side, it's pretty amazing how Fraser was able to improve from last year in pretty much every single category. In margin of victory, he broke the 200-point barrier. He dropped his average placing per event by a full placement to the lowest ever by an individual. He won more events, and his 1,132 points were a 36-point improvement from last year, despite there being 50 fewer points up for grabs at this year's games, which brings us to probably the most impressive stat from Fraser in my opinion, and that's the percentage of points earned by Fraser at this year's games. Last year, Fraser took home 1,096 of a possible 1,350 points, which means he got 81% of all points available to him. But this year, that number jumped up to 87% because Fraser took home 1,132 points out of a possible 1,300 against 39 of the fittest men on the planet and the best test of fitness we have seen to date. Now, this year, Fraser finished every single day of competition in first place overall, and that's significant because dating back to last year, Fraser has a pretty impressive streak going on. Now, when we're talking about live CrossFit competition, that's regionals and games, Fraser has finished those competitions in first place for 15 consecutive days. That dates back to 2016 regionals of last year at the East Regional. Remember, he started off with 4 straight event wins. He finished all 3 days of competition there in first place, then jumped to the 2016 games. As we all know, he finished all 5 days of competition there in first place. Come to this year's 2017 East Regional, finished all 3 days in first place yet again, and then clean sweep for the 2017 games as well. In total, 15 straight days of CrossFit competition in first place for Matt Fraser. He has spent more than 2 weeks at the top, and all things considered at the games, he has started a week straight of CrossFit Games competition. That's at the games in Carson and Madison, wearing the white leaders jersey. Close race or not, it is still certainly something special to watch all-time greatness kind of unfold on the competition floor at the hands of Matt Fraser these last 2 years. Now, moving over to the women's side of the house, the women's competition this year, well, it had the best finish I have ever seen in CrossFit Games history. Now, points-wise, it was the closest finish ever between first and second place. And Tia-Clair Toomey can hang her hat on the fact that she both outlasted a charging Cara Webb, and also because moving from second place one year to first place the next year puts her in some pretty elite company as far as CrossFit Games history goes. 3 other times in the modern era, an athlete has gone from runner-up one year to champion the next year. And it started with Rich Froning in 2011. He was the first to do it for the men. Remember, he took second place in 2010. Annie, that same year, also did it, going from second in 2010 to first in 2011. Matt Fraser, our current 2-time champion, went from runner-up 2 times in a row to winning his first CrossFit Games title in 2016. And this year, Tia-Clair Toomey joins the prestigious club, going from back-to-back, almost heartbreaking second-place finishes to finally winning her first CrossFit Games title. And one good thing to note, every single other athlete besides Tia on this list has multiple titles and consecutive years. So history is certainly on Tia-Clair Toomey's side as she'll look to defend her title again next year in 2018. That's going to do it for us here inside the Leaderboard. Up next, we have the team series. This year, it's a pairs competition. You got male, female, or mixed pairs. The competition runs 2 consecutive weeks from September 20th to October 2nd. Registration is live now, so grab a buddy, convince them to join the competition, and head over to games.crossfit.com to sign up.